In 2009, 2,914 individuals got away from North Korea. In 2019, it was down to 147. By 2022. This number had dropped to 67 individuals, and assuming North Korea used to be the hardest country to escape from now specialists, and that's what onlookers concur. Getting away from that point is basically inconceivable. Well, there's no getting through this without espresso. Excuse me, however, I will take a set. Simply an unpretentious update for those who neglect to raise a ruckus around town. Button, don't neglect to do it. To begin with, we really want to comprehend what North Korea's boundaries seem to be and what the public authority does to keep individuals from leaving the country from the start of the coronavirus pandemic in mid-2020 until presently. North Korean specialists have closed down the nation's boundaries with built-up walls, monitor posts, severe controls, and new guidelines. Obviously, this began significantly sooner. The North Korean government has been controlling its kin for a really long time. AIDS, however, under Kim Jong-un, after he took power in 2011, control was moved forward, especially on the northern line, with China and Russia, which has definitely decreased the number of individuals crossing it. Getting past substantial walls and high-voltage walls is staggeringly intense. Since late 2021, there have been unsubstantiated reports about landmines covered along the Tumen. Furthermore, Yalu waterways to prevent individuals from crossing the line into China. Later on, media sources with connections to North Korea revealed that the authority began setting hidden mortars around the northern line since August 2023. These mines kill 6 individuals in 2023 alone. However, mines weren't the main issue. Practically the whole boundary is presently lined with walls, and these are auxiliary, and there was no such thing as tertiary layers that previously 2019, and presently they've even been updated. New posts, broadened watch courses, lookouts, monitor posts and fences walls along the 200 ms of straight boundary. In these 6 districts, broke-down spectators found a sum of 462 miles of fencing. Sure, these spiked metal walls were around before, yet in those days, individuals needing to get away from North Korea could pay off the gatekeepers. Currently, they have individuals from various offices positioned at the boundary to keep an eye on one another and report anything dubious. The watchmen were additionally requested to shoot any individual who entered the security zones, and evening groups on vehicle and train traffic close to the walls just made things more awful. However, the specialists thought that wasn't sufficient, and as of late, they indeed even sent a robot to search for points of concern along the line. Sincerely, I uncertainty there are any, and I question it considerably more. When individuals who really managed to escape the country discuss the Psyche coastline, this was finished to prevent individuals from getting away via ocean. However, they actually attempt at any rate. It can require a while now, and then dependent upon 6 to plan for and get away from, like, sorting out the design of a minefield, they need to cross lackeys. As a matter of fact, do this strolling around professing to assemble therapeutic spices, while furtively remembering the areas of the mines. Again, this is completely founded on individuals' accounts and articles, so you be the appointed authority on the off chance that it's valid or not. What might be said about the southern boundary? The Korean Neutral Territory is a portion of land partitioning the Korean promontory into 2 practically equivalent amounts of the northern one, North Korea, and the southern one, South Korea. In spite of the fact that it's known as a neutral territory, it's exceptionally mobilized. It extends around 155 m long and is approximately 2.5 miles wide. This zone has turned into where many individuals have passed on, both military and regular citizen, from the 2 sides. In the end, the line between North and South Korea is viewed as one of the most vigorously protected stretches of land on the planet, and here too, there are many mines, walls, spiked metal lookouts, essentially all that you would be able to envision to make the zone amazingly hard to cross. But since individuals just can't be there, north of 6,000 types of creatures, furthermore, plants live in the disarmed zone, a nature save made by war. Yet that is something else altogether. It's more vital to comprehend where the peaceful area came from, in the ahead of everyone else. Everything began with the Korean conflict, and like any conflict, it was frightening by different appraisals. 2 to 3 million regular folks kicked the bucket. Then in 1953, and ceasefire was endorsed by the way, lawfully talking. That is not harmony. So the conflict is actually as yet going on. The North and South used to be isolated by a nearly invulnerable line. Nobody could cross it. After that, the 2 nations started creating next to each other in the accompanying decade. South Korea modernized, becoming one of the richest and most mechanically progressed nations in the world. North Korea, then again, turned out to be progressively secluded. The issue, however, is that leaving North Korea wrongfully is viewed as a wrongdoing. Those who do it unlawfully are frequently respected as double-crosser turncoats, traitors, whatnot. That the discipline for attempting to leave the country without the power's assent is at least 5 years of hard work. What might be said about legitimate travel on the off chance that you aggregate it up, it's quite terrible. North Koreans, for the most part, can't travel uninhibitedly around the world, leaving the nation and entering again, are firmly directed. The rundown of individuals permitted to leave the nation is tiny. It incorporates, for instance, negotiators, tip-top understudies, employed laborers. Furthermore, competitors, and every one of them, are under extremely close observation by the specialists, assuming that they, in all actuality, do get authorization to leave North Korea. Standard individuals can't indeed even fantasy about leaving the country legitimately, so they get away from the most widely recognized system for supposed weaklings is to cross the line among China and North Korea. The line there is huge, and it appears as though there are more open doors to cross it. Basically, that was the situation previously on the off chance that deserters figure out how to get to China. They typically make a trip further to some third country. Since China is a generally close partner of North Korea, there's a serious gamble that they may get found out there and sent back. So most of the time, turncoats attempt to get to South Korea. It's anything but a short way. First, you really want to cross the line between North Korea and China then. At that point, get to its southern boundary. From that point advance to Vietnam or Laos, and afterward to Thailand. From that point, deserters are much of the time shipped off South Korea, and this course is still considered less difficult than going straightforwardly to South Korea. In extremely uncommon cases, turncoats figure out how to escape through the vigorously monitored hostile area. However, these are more similar to exemptions that demonstrate the standard intersection. This boundary is unimaginable. It's more straightforward through China, albeit this way is loaded with risks that some don't understand until they face them. Head on practically the whole northern line. North Korea runs along streams. On the left side is the Yalu Stream, and the other piece of the boundary with China and the Rath line with Russia match with the Tumen Waterway. So in the event that individuals need to leave North Korea through the northern line, they need to cross one of these streams in Russia in the Far East. Around 10,000 North Koreans live, a considerable lot of whom escaped from work camps and all had to get through this Tumen Stream. To understate the obvious, doing this isn't simple. Numerous turncoats suffocate while attempting to do it, since they're simply not prepared for the risks of the wild. This is on the grounds that the people who decide to abandon frequently spend their whole lives in the city and are not adjusted to what's past it, other than while crossing a waterway. You really want to do it rapidly to stay away from getting found out by an equipped watch. Yet individuals, for the most part, don't have the foggiest idea where the water's profound and where it's not. During the blustery season, the stream water rises, which likewise expands the gamble of not making it to the opposite side. Even a ranged individual can undoubtedly suffocate due to the solid current. To give you a thought of the numbers we're discussing, in 1961, 245 bodies were seen as in the waterways, Yalu and Tumen, in North Korea. The fact that all these individuals makes it anticipated, suffocated, while attempting to cross the boundary, likewise quite. Sometime in the past, the Chinese Service of International Concerns communicated worry about the enormous number of individuals putting their lives in danger crossing the boundary with North Korea. You could ask, for what reason is the information so old and obscure? The response is straightforward. North Korea doesn't share this sort of data. In addition to, it's truly difficult to count. The number of deserters have kicked the bucket in waterways throughout this time. There are possible a lot more individuals say it's easier to cross the Tumen Stream than the U waterway on the grounds that the Tumen waterway is shallow and thin, and in some spots you can cross it not simply by swimming, yet even by walking. The Yalu waterway is something else entirely. It's profound, wide, and quick. However, that doesn't stop turncoats, regardless of whether they know how to swim. Additionally, prior to crossing the stream, you need to conceal in the woods for a couple days, hanging tight for the right second, and the water in the stream is cold, so it can effectively cramp your muscles. However, suppose an individual figured out how to cross the Yo waterway presently, they need to continue going. Remaining in China may be hazardous, so many choose to get to Mongolia. However, on the way there, outlaws face another regular test. To overcome this course, you'll need to cross the Goi Desert. Here's the potential gain. In the event that an individual endures, they fundamentally get a free boarding pass to South Korea. Yet first they need to endure the course from the line of China and North Korea to the capital of Mongolia is nearly 2,000 miles first. You need to travel across the tremendous sandy fields of the GOI desert with your headlights off to stay away from watches. Then you need to stroll along the wall and implore not to run into to Chinese boundary watches since, supposing that you do, there's in a real sense no place to stow away in the desert. Individuals, in a real sense, attempt to cover themselves in the sand. In the event that you don't get gotten by the Chinese line monitors, you just need to cut the wall and run before the Mongolian authorities stop you. After that, you're protected. However, this is simply an unpleasant portrayal of the way individuals who've gone through it say that they were continually experiencing the intensity. The water ran out. There was a genuine gamble of biting the dust like this. Squarely in the center of the desert, it's hot during the day. In any case, around evening time, it's no greater. Like in any desert in the GOI, night implies painful cold. In winter, evening time temperatures can drop to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And in spite of the fact that these are outrageous cases, a normal of -4 degrees Fahrenheit, when you're in the desert can likewise be a cruel challenge. And you understand what everything I've proactively portrayed isn't even the most perilous course. The primary spot, if we don't count straightforwardly, crossing the neutral territory goes to getting away by ocean, and obviously there's an or more to it. You can get to South Korea by passing different nations, yet deserters need to bargain not just with line watches on the coast and its ocean, not just with mines on the shore, yet additionally with unusual climate and simply terrible wooden boats. These water conditions are truly extreme. In any event, for prepared anglers, their battered wooden phantom boats are consistently appeared on the western shores of Japan alongside the collections of anglers who wound up in the vast ocean. What's more, kick the bucket left without food and water, and these are capable individuals who routinely head out to the ocean. Envision what it resembles for common deserters who end up in a boat that scarcely stays above water. South Korean anglers who go over displaced people frequently notice that their boats seem as though they ought to have been rejected a very long time prior. Unexpectedly, it's most secure to cruise in a tempest. Yes, it's more straightforward to suffocate that way. Yet the watches comprehend this and do whatever it takes not to go out to sea in terrible climate, or possibly do it as seldom as conceivable, yet regardless of whether the deserters don't run into a watch and endure the tempest. The boat could float distant the arranged course once individuals who expected to arrive at South Korea floated adrift for 5 days, since they were stolen away course and ultimately finished up on the shores of Japan. Obviously, it's still an outcome, however, and here comes the question. The number of individuals that have kicked the bucket attempting to escape from North Korea, particularly taking into account that the deserters who attempt to cross the ocean this way are not proficient mariners. By any means, they're curious about route with working a boat, and making a botch in the untamed ocean is extremely simple anyway. Just 2 passings were affirmed. This may be mostly in light of the fact that a couple of individuals set out to make such a departure and incompletely, since the individuals who pass on adrift may very well never be found. What amazed me the most is that individuals infrequently yet still attempt to cross the boundary without a boat by simply swimming. For instance, in 2021, a man wearing a cushioned coat under a wetsuit swam for 6 hours to get into South Korea. Then he concealed the suit and balances went into a waste trench that ran under the security barrier off the ocean side and just strolled. South Korean line watches didn't see him, and as it were gotten him 3 mil from the line, however. This is obviously a remarkable case and a individual with extraordinary preparation. North Koreans need to look for help, and this help isn't modest. In 2009 intersection, the line cost around 3 million Korean, when that is $2,800, as the cash goes to extraordinary specialists who guide individuals on what to do and frequently even lead them. Since then, at that point, getting away has become more costly. What's more, presently costs nearly $9,300. Getting to South Korea cost about $15 million, US $14,000. Yet it is the to cross the line most costly part. All the other things is less expensive. In any event, giving assistance free of charge isn't something anybody maintains that should do. Official pay rates in North Korea are extremely low and normally range from 5,000 to 10,000 W for every month, which is identical to $1 to $3. You can compute it yourself. However, even without crunching the numbers, obviously things are really disheartening. It's worth taking note of that. These aren't the cash you use to purchase everything yourself. The government probably gives purported proportions which incorporate food oil and even liquor. At any rate, that is not the point. Here anyway, individuals continue to escape. In 2016, there were 1,418 deserters enrolled in South Korea in 2017. The South Korean Service of Unification enrolled 1,127 turncoats. In 2018, it was 1,137 individuals. In 2019, 47 individuals made it to South Korea. However, at that point, everything changed definitely. The expensive break rose almost 10 times after the pandemic begun, and in 2020, just 67 deserters arrived at South Korea. In 2021, out of 20,122, there were only 63 and 67 individuals. Just contrast that with the record number in 2009, 2,914 individuals. If about a 000 individuals used to cross the Chinese line. Every year, just 20 individuals have done it in the most recent 4 years, and just 4 of them wound up in South Korea. All in view of the pandemic. When it began, the North Korean government terrified and disengaged the country from the remainder of the world it was once genuinely normal to get away from, which has basically halted on the grounds that it turned out to be almost inconceivable. Now just rich individuals with great associations can get across the borders. Different satellite pictures on the off chance that you take a gander at North Korea. From a satellite around evening time, it's practically undetectable. This is particularly perceptible looked at to adjoining nations which are splendidly lit, while North Korea sinks into haziness. Beijing and Seoul sparkle like signals. And it's no big surprise since more than 60% of the total populace lives in Asia, and individuals continue onward about their business after the sun goes down. Furthermore, for that they need power. The per capita power utilization in South Korea is 10,262 kilowatt hours, while North Korea utilizes only 739 kilowatt hours. No big surprise. It's so dull there. North Korean Turncoat Day as of late. South Korea laid out a new occasion, and presently July 14th is assigned as the day for North Korean turncoats who figured out how to get away and find new home in South Korea. The arrangement is to celebrate with music, food, and other images from both North and South Korean societies by how South Korea is home to more than 34,000 turncoats from North Korea, and the occasion mirrors the South's strategy towards Korean reunification. The main celebration and distinction of North Korean Deserter Day took put in Seoul as of late on July 14th, 2024. Also, it looked very unassuming. However, that is consistently the situation with new occasions. Individuals are prepared again in January 202-24. That's what South Korean specialists reported. The quantity of North Korean deserters entering South Korea almost significantly increased in 2023. Contrasted with the past 2 years, presently countless youngsters and additionally individuals from the North Korean tip-top are escaping to the nation. In 20236 deserters were enlisted. Recollect that in 2022, there were just 67, despite the fact that this number is only a little piece of what it was before the pandemic. It still implies that individuals have gotten an opportunity to leave the disengaged country. Anyway, there's a trick. A large portion of the individuals who entered South Korea last year in fact left North Korea ages ago and had been living in third nations for a long time prior to making a beeline for Seoul. That is how it is. You owe me a, see you afterward